Okay. This is maybe going to be episode 5 of What's Been Better. Um, I don't have any jazzy intro for y'all today. Just going through some shit, so this might be a little raw. If you know us, you know we cuss. If you don't, you're going to have to get used to it today. That's just where we are. You see my face is already a little teary.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, y'all. Real life.
Yeah.
Real stuff
Yeah.
happens.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna happen like that sometimes because this is life.
Yeah.
We're not even gonna talk about what's been better, right? Because we're just in a space, and
Yeah.
and sometimes, as we all know, life just comes at you, and we don't have no rhyme or reason for it.
No.
We can just be in a funk. We don't know where the shit came from,
Yeah.
and we don't even know what to do about it, right? So
Yeah.
today we're just gonna talk.
Yeah. Like, I just got nothing today. Like, if you would have asked me what's been better, I'd just said that I'm just here, which is
Mm-hmm.
a lot.
Which, yeah, it
You know,
is. Yeah.
I'm not in a space like I was a year ago. I'm not in a
Mhm.
space of like self-harm. I'm
Mhm.
just in a space of like I am extremely fucking sad
Mhm.
and I don't know what I'm sad about, and it makes me
Mhm.
guilty to not have a rhyme or a reason. It makes me feel
Mhm.
guilty to not
Mhm.
have like an explanation, but it's just like something, it's a monkey on my back.
Okay. So let's break it down, right? Because whenever there's sadness or a low vibrational feeling that we don't want, what I hope we take away today is that it doesn't have to stay there, right?
Yeah.
We can't jump up to exhilarated and ecstatic and, full of joy. Um, but we can stair step that bitch, right? And
Yeah.
so what I would like to start by asking is, when did you first notice that you were feeling like this?
About a week ago. So the week leading up to my birthday,
Okay.
I just started feeling like I don't know what, honestly.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, not like this is why I'm saying like this is all different for me because it's there's no reason. I just started feeling like sad.
Mhm.
Like I don't know. I all right. It was complex because I was grateful that I was like getting to another year
Mhm.
and putting last year down.
Right.
But I was also sad because I was like, I don't know if I'm necessarily where I want to be.
Mhm.
But then I'm like, I don't know if I care about that because there's like options to do whatever. But I was just miserable.
Mhm. Okay. And
So,
what was your thinking though? Because our thinking mind is always thinking, right? And
hmm
and and there are things that just shoot through.
yeah,
And it might not be something that we want to think. It could be triggers of some sort.
yeah.
So what were some of the thoughts that were coming through?
I was thinking about last year and everything that was going on because we're literally landing on an exact year
Mhm.
of the whole fucked up situation that I was in before. Of
Mhm.
I think today is the 27th. I think at this point I'm writing the article and getting all that together and moving on to the next company, and
Mhm.
so I'm like in the precursors of being ghosted now. So it
Okay.
was like I was kind of thinking, about all of that. So last week when I started feeling like this, is because I was landing on these are the exact days and exact moments of what those things were, and I was like, I felt like I was gaslighting myself
Okay.
into like being right back there. So
Mhm.
I was kind of like trying not to think of that stuff, which was making me think of that stuff, which was
Mhm.
making me more, I guess, resentful of the people in the situation.
Mhm.
And then I'll tell you another thing that happened. Everything that happened when the people were protesting the Atlanta police was happening. Okay,
Okay.
that's another thing that I was covering at the time.
Mhm. Okay.
So I was like, watching all that happen, watching people
Mhm.
get arrested, watching people talk about it, watching it, like, reach national news and stuff, and I was, like, grateful in a way that I wasn't involved in it,
Mhm.
but I was also kinda like, "Damn, I could be covering that right now. I could be back in that right now." And then I was like, "No, it's good that you're not in that
Mhm.
because who the fuck knows where we would be."
Right.
So, it was, like, just
Right.
is a real complex situation of, like, really high gratefulness and really low sadness.
Right. And so the gratefulness sounds like it didn't outweigh the sadness.
No,
Okay.
no, mm-mm.
And
And then
then uh-huh.
and then the next day, so that was last Thursday, last Friday. It's Friday now. Um, the Saturday was like, kind of I thought would be like a party and gathering people and people started, having their own shit to do and not showing up, and so of course that started making me feel a type of way of what the fuck. And not but then I was like, again, complex. I'm mad about that, sad about that, about people not showing up, but then I'm grateful for the people that did show up. So it's like, here we go again, but the balance beam was not balanced.
Right. Right.
And so it's like here comes the guilt of, well, why can't you just be grateful for the people that did show up? Well, I am. Well, why can't you be more grateful?
Okay. And what did you come up with after that?
Just more sadness.
I hear you. So
So
you
it's
didn't
just a
have a
circle.
comeback. Right.
No,
Okay.
no, it's just a circle at this point.
Okay. And so that kept lingering, sounds like.
Yeah, yeah. All
Okay.
it is like a lot of lingering, a lot of ruminating.
Mhm.
Uh, I know that it's not keeping me up because I can feel myself going to sleep. It's not
Okay.
This is another, like, complex thing, like, it's not like before where it's like, I'm just staying up 24 hours. It's not happening,
Mhm.
but it's like, I'm not resting, I guess? Like, I'm
Okay.
going to sleep, but it's not restful.
Okay.
Like, my
It's
brain is not powering down.
right. Okay. So when you got up this morning, what
Yeah,
was on your mind?
um, not wanting to record.
Ah.
Yeah, being like, "You committed to this, you gotta do it,"
Mhm.
and the other part of me is like, "Don't you get your ass on there crying." Like, there's nothing for
Mhm.
you to cry about, like, why are you sad?
Mhm.
Like, it's a whole bunch of guilt of, like, "You just being weird right now, stop crying."
You're right. And so while it could be that somebody hears this and says, "Girl, ain't nothing to be sad about."
Legit,
Like,
and that's gonna piss me off because it's like, those
exactly.
people are right, not
Well,
me.
I don't know that they are right. That's why I'm saying we can't go from here to here. We can't jump
Right.
from sadness to gladness. And I'm not going to dismiss how you feel. So when
Yeah.
someone says you don't have to be blah blah blah, well, I don't have to be a lot of daggone things.
You're right. You're
I
right.
just happen to be sad in this moment, right? And
Yeah.
so our feelings are
Yeah.
by choice, by moment, by choice, by moment, right?
Mhm.
And so what I would say though is if sadness was 0 and gladness or joy was 10,
Mhm.
where are you on that scale?
To be honest with you, 2. But
Okay.
if I gave myself a little bit more, like, thought process,
Mhm.
probably a 3.
Okay.
Probably a 3
How?
because I'm still functioning. I'm not sitting on the couch.
Right.
This
Right.
this isn't That's what I'm saying, like, this is not last year. Like, I have
Mhm.
to preface that enough times. Is like, I'm not a zombie,
Right.
Like,
Right.
last year this time, it was bad, like, that's why I'm also, like, prefacing, like, I'm not trying to harm myself.
And that's awesome.
Like, before, I
Right.
was trying
So
to tap out.
okay, so tell me what difference that's making right now that it's not like that before.
Um, it's okay, but it's like, but what is the problem then?
Well, we'll get to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's sometimes, and the reason why I'm even saying this, and I'm glad that we're actually having this conversation today,
Mhm.
Because everything is for somebody. It's
Yeah.
for us, it's for somebody that's going through this. There's somebody who knows somebody who's going through this
Yeah.
and can have a conversation with them so that one, there's hope still there because hope is always lingering. Like hope was between 2 and 3, right?
Yeah.
Hope is you are not where you were last year.
No.
Hope is always around, right? And so while it's good that you're not where you were last year, I'm gonna even say you said you're about 3, right?
Yeah.
Where were you last week?
Probably like a 6 or a 7.
Oh, okay,
Because
so
I still was, like, functioning. I
okay.
was like, putting stuff off, but I was still like, "Okay, I at least gotta do whatever." Like, I kinda had a mental checklist going.
Mhm.
This week, it was like, "Okay, you gotta do those things," and I'd be like, "Yeah, alright, whatever. I'm not doing that
Okay.
shit." You know,
Okay.
like,
Okay.
even planting, like,
Mhm.
I think I only went to the greenhouse, like, twice this whole week. That ain't like me. I would've
Okay.
gone every day.
Right.
You
Right.
know, I'm doing stuff, but it's stuff that's like that was on my list 2 weeks ago, you
Right.
know? Like, I flipped
Right.
my compost yesterday.
Mhm.
I should have flipped that shit, like, as soon as the frost was over, I should have
I
flipped that.
I
You know what
get
I'm
it.
saying? So I'm
I hear
like,
you. I hear you.
I'm doing stuff, but it's just like, by the time I'm getting around to it, it's so last minute, it's so frazzled, it's so like, that's what I was trying to say, it's like, stuff seems half done
Mhm.
to me. To
I get it.
somebody else, they'd be like, "Damn, like, you know, go ahead," but we gotta remember, like, Imma do the most. So, operating at this level is, like, way below my standard.
I get it. And so imagine that you didn't judge yourself, right? Imagine that today was your best and we're not basing it on what you normally do,
Yeah,
right? Because imagine you were sick as a fucking dog, right? Like
yeah.
you couldn't get out there and turn it and do the things that you would normally do.
But that to me would make more sense than this, like, that has reasoning behind it.
This does too. And that's what I'm saying. It
Okay,
has reasoning too. You just don't know what the reasoning is, but your body knows.
okay.
Your body, in fact, our bodies keeps the score. Period. Like
Yeah,
when feelings come in, they could come into like we could feel it in our head, or
mhm,
sometimes we could feel it in our gut. We can feel it in our back, like wherever that stress comes in. Like for for um for us, it's in different places.
yeah. I
So
can tell
right,
that.
right. So where is it coming in for you?
Oh,
Where
it's
do you feel your sadness?
my skin has started to freak out again. So,
Mhm.
like, everything that had been clearing up and that I thought was, like, on the mend and all my spots were going away, like, all of them are inflamed and all of them
Mm,
feel bad and
yeah.
everything just looks
Mhm.
crazy and it feels like it's spreading everywhere now and new spots and
Yeah.
so, yeah,
Well, your body is super sensitive and it's
yeah,
feeling it. And it's
yeah,
it's really trying to process the sadness and really deal with it,
yeah,
right? And so that's why I'm saying your body knows
yeah,
and your body's trying to explain it for you, right? Even though you might not really get what it truly is.
yeah. It's
And
yeah,
I think more than what it is and trying to explain what it
mhm,
is trying to explain or decide where you desire to be, and giving yourself some compassion right now because your body needs you.
yeah,
It needs a lot of love, right? And so the love that you could probably imagine feeling from other places, right?
mhm,
Imagine that it's inside.
right. It's I think the other thing is, like, I've been trying to figure out, like, what level of help do I need also because I this is so different
Mhm.
that I don't know where else this is gonna go. So
Mm.
like, afraid for it to get worse.
Mhm.
So I'm like, you know, for as long as I've been like, "No, I'm not gonna do medication. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that."
Mhm.
I started like thinking about all that stuff this week because I was like, this is bad.
I hear you.
This is not this ain't it.
Right. And I'm curious to know, though, how much inner support you gave yourself instead of feeling like you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. And when the guilt started to come, I'm curious to know how much encouragement you gave yourself, how much
Um,
compassion you gave yourself.
I don't feel like enough.
Okay.
Um, I don't feel like enough because well, I can't say that. I can't say that. I'll say I gave myself some because like I said, I was able to still like do stuff, not
Mhm.
just sit on the couch, put clothes
Mhm.
on, go
Mhm.
to run whatever errands I needed to run. Those kinds of things. Like I wouldn't have left the house last year.
Okay.
Like
Look at that.
I shit you not, I would not have gone to any store, to anything. I wouldn't have
Right.
put clothes on, I wouldn't have done anything. So
Well, what was different then? How did you do it this year as opposed to not doing it last year?
I didn't have there was no causation. There was no reason for this.
Mhm.
So I guess that's why I was able to like kind of gaslight myself into being like, you're fine. Nothing's wrong with you. Or stop acting like
Mhm.
that.
Mm.
Or you don't have a reason to be sad or whatever.
Mhm.
So so yeah.
Well, the thing about that though is even though there was no causation, right? And then
Hmm.
you're gaslighting yourself. Something good still came out of this, you know.
What you
And
mean?
so it's like last year you said you wouldn't have done it. You wouldn't have gone anywhere.
No, I mean you saw me last year. Like this show exists because of everything that happened in those 8 to 12 days.
Mhm.
This whole entire all of this
Right.
exists because there was outside forces to go, okay, this, and this, just to kind of woodpecker me to the forehead last year. So it,
Mhm.
it made sense of like it was other people doing whatever, and I was responding to that,
I hear
or
you.
other people's gaslighting, other people's
Mhm.
whatever. So it was
Right.
like that that made more sense as to like why I was so low. But like this is I guess where the struggle is in all of this also is because it's so prolonged.
Mhm. And
It's
so
just
prolonged like
yeah.
a week, are you saying, or
I mean, we're going on 2 weeks now.
mhm.
Going on 2 weeks. So it's I guess I'm trying to figure out like number one, what's the source so I could turn that shit off? And number two, what is how do I lock that away so I don't get back down here?
Right. Well, it's not locking it away, right?
Okay.
It is, again, we talk about compassion. It's like, what if your best friend was going through this? Or Drew, what if he was
Mhm.
going through this?
Mhm.
What would you do for him?
See, here's the gaslight though. I would tell myself like this would never happen.
Hmm?
This would never happen to him. So it's not even a
Yeah.
possible situation for me to be like, how would I respond in it?
Okay.
Because it's not an example that is like even possible in my sphere. Like I
I,
just
I get it.
so I had to
Well,
find somebody else that I'm like, no, because I'm surrounded by a bunch of people who
yeah.
if they were going through this is
Mm-hmm.
not some shit I would ever see them go through because they
Mm.
would never respond in this. So there's the like re-up of the gaslight is like
Mm-hmm.
only I feel like this.
I
Only
get it.
I have no reasoning for being sad. Only I get to like live this life and still I'm not grateful enough for
Right. Okay. So when you talk about um you feeling like this, right?
it. Mhm.
You have a friend, Tori, right? We talk about Tori sometimes.
Mhm.
Feels just like you feel, right? So imagine that she felt like this and you knew it. Y'all was just hanging out for the whole week. What would you say to her? The exact same thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'd just listen
Mhm.
until we could both figure out like what to do next. Because
Okay.
I just there it just doesn't feel like there's an answer for this. It just
Well,
doesn't.
I understand, right?
Yeah.
And we have to, if we could, imagine that there is an answer. And if not the answer for what you're dealing with, an answer for how you want to feel, like what you can do to feel just a little bit better, because that's all we have. It's just a
Yeah.
little bit better. It's like somehow I found myself in this damn hole.
Yeah.
I don't know how I slipped in this hole.
Not at all.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I turned around and damn it, I'm in a
Like
hole.
when
Right.
the fuck did we walk over here to get in this?
Right.
That's exactly it. I don't
Right.
even remember walking anywhere to fall off in this hole.
Right.
It just I just was in this hole one day.
Right. And who starts to say how the fuck we get here, right? Like
Yeah.
we can talk about that later.
Right.
What we need to do is get the fuck up out the hole.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, because standing in the hole and going, "How we get?" It ain't gonna get us out the hole. Like,
No, it's not. No,
yeah,
it's not. And so we think about the next step, right? And that's the thing. And
yeah,
imagine feeling a little bit better gets us out the hole. It's like it creates a staircase. Every thought creates another step,
right.
and that is the thing. And so when we look at, that's why I'm comparing this year to last year,
Mhm.
and even there's no rhyme or reason for it. We could
Right.
still use the steps that we used last year this year to get out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you have the knowledge, you have the tools,
Right.
right?
I probably have more,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely more than I had. You know, I I guess too. In thinking about last year to this year, is I talk to people. I interacted
Mhm.
with people. Like, I was in the
Mhm.
store yesterday looking for seeds and just
Mhm.
looking for things, and it
Right.
took me all the way to fucking Douglasville yesterday. I couldn't even believe I had to go that far. But, even just running into people in the store, like, I wasn't seeking out to talk to anybody. Trust me, I had my
Right.
head down, just kinda trying to get it done.
Mhm.
And so I was standing on the aisle, and I was, like, so excited because I've been looking for onion sets. They're like
Right.
little not seeds, they're like the little baby onions that you plant. It's like a
Okay.
it's like you skip 3 steps basically when you're planting onions.
Okay.
So, I didn't wanna start onions for seed. I've been saying I didn't wanna do that. So, I've been calling where I usually get my seeds from and asking, and they only had one kind, and so it's been like a 2-week thing. Same 2 weeks, and I'm like, "Man, this is gonna suck. I'm not gonna have any onions. The onions aren't gonna be ready by the summer." Like, this is just, nothing was working. So, yesterday when I got to the store and they had some, I was like, "Okay, like, this is good, whatever." So, they had all 3, red, yellow, and, white. So, I was like, "Okay, I can get these." So, I'm standing there and I'm reading, and another lady walks up, and she had a Tractor Supply outfit on, but she was like must have been on her break. So, she was looking at the seeds, and she was like, "Oh, do you plant stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Right.
If it's anything I do, I plant stuff.
Right.
So, she was, going on and on about she planted some seedlings and they didn't freeze during the frost. So she was like, "I don't know if they're, like, bad or fake or what." And I was like, "Yeah, that's a bit different. You gotta be careful about where you buy stuff from." And, so we just stand there talking, and, she was like, "Do you know blah, blah, blah?" And I said, "Well, yeah, because 'cause I've grown that before." And so she was like, "Well, what all do you grow?" And I said, I started with 4 pots, and now I have a 12 to 15-foot by 30-foot garden with a greenhouse. And so her eyes were like as big as saucers at that point. She was like, "What?" Another black lady though, older black lady. So she was
Mhm.
like, "Huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever, whatever." And so then she's like, "Well, where do you buy your seeds?" And so I told her, if it's something that I need quick, I go to particular stores. And I said, but if I have a choice, there's a Black woman that I found on TikTok that I buy my seeds from. Shout out to Sherry, the okra lady. She is a lifesaver and she's great at what she does. So I was telling her that, telling her look her up or whatever. And then asked her for what I really came to the store to get.
Right.
And so she's like, "Oh, I'll take you over there or whatever." She's like, "So what do you need this for?" Because I needed alfalfa pellets. Really
Mhm.
wild. My compost is cold. It's damn near frozen. There's no grass because nobody's cutting their grass. There's no green leaves. There's nothing green full of nitrogen to put in the compost. So something like alfalfa pellets apparently will jumpstart your compost.
Whoa.
So I'm explaining this to the lady. I'm also explaining to her that I talked to the compost fairy, and the compost fairy was kind of giving me some tips. So she was writing down that name. And so then she was like, "Well, do you do whatever?" I said, "Hold on, let me tell you something. Black girl with tools." So she was like, "Well, who is this?" I said, "That's me." So she was like, "Okay, okay, I'm gonna look you up, whatever, whatever." So she was just like excited or whatever. Cut to I get the alfalfa pellets. I had to go back to the side where the seeds were. She's over there again. But now she's talking to a dude. That dude is her husband. Her husband was coming to pick her up.
Wow.
So her
Oh, wow.
husband, she points to her husband and she's like, "This is my husband. Yeah, we gotta follow her and whatever, whatever." So it made me feel a little bit better, but I was cracking
Mhm.
up. I'm like, "Yeah, if this was last year, I would not even be in this store.
Look at you.
I would not be
And
talking to this lady." you know?
tell me this. In the
Mhm.
past 2.5 minutes that we've talked about
Uh-huh.
you going to Douglasville,
Yeah.
meeting this lady,
Uh-huh.
how are you feeling right now? If we scale it.
Like my purpose is bigger than my sadness.
Yes. But as you talked about it, you lit up. Do you get what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
You talked about something you like, you love,
Yeah.
and the fact that you helped somebody
Yeah.
and you said her eyes got as big as sausage. You
Yeah.
lit up too.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And as we start to speak about the things that we love, it shifts us.
Yeah, but now, like, you see me crying now is like a release of this is the guilt now.
The guilt of.
Now I'm feeling guilty because, like, what the fuck are you sad about?
Well, so imagine again. So the guilt will come until you practice letting that guilt go, right?
Right.
And just allow yourself to feel whatever it feels because it's like this. It
Yeah.
comes and goes. It's like you're having some waves that go the ebb and flow.
Yeah.
They're
I
just
mean,
ebbing and
they
flowing
are a
pretty
lot.
right. It's like I can't think of the word that I want to use about the water. It's turbulent. They're
It
turbulent
it is.
waters. Right.
Yeah.
And so just come through the turbulent waters. That's all. And you're gonna get to the other side.
Yeah.
You can tell guilt. We don't have to be mad at guilt. Just like
No.
guilt, you're okay. We don't need you today.
Yeah.
We don't need you. We just don't.
You
You
know what
know.
I was thinking about? I was thinking about when we talked to Hope about
Mm-hmm.
the what was it, immersion therapy?
Yeah.
Uh, it's like I almost feel like I need to try something like that, like
You
whatever it
said
is. Like
immersion.
I think that's what she did. What was
Mm-hmm.
the type of therapy that she says she went through? I don't remember,
I
but
don't
it was
remember. I like it though. We can go back over it, but I like what she was saying about that.
yeah. It's like I feel like I might need to dip my toe in that water of
Mm-hmm.
let's get in this, feel
Mm-hmm.
it, so that way I can release it because it's like I feel like the guilt might be more than the sadness.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because
Yeah.
the guilt is like saying to you, don't feel what you're feeling. It's
Yes.
the ultimate dismissiveness. It's
Yes.
like the little old lady or the a person coming, girl, you don't have to be sad. What you
Uh-huh.
sad for? But it's a little meaner though,
Yeah.
you know. And it's
Yeah.
like that's why I'm saying in your loving way,
Mhm.
just escort guilt back out the door because guilt doesn't necessarily belong here right now.
Right.
And it's given permission. So when we talk about zero fucks, right?
Mhm.
We're
Yeah.
giving you can give yourself permission to give zero fucks to guilt
Right.
because no guilt, I don't really care what you have to say because I feel how I fucking feel.
Yeah.
And it will leave just like a wave. It comes and it goes. My
Yeah.
waters are just a little turbulent now.
Right.
They're choppy.
Yeah. The frequency of the waves is coming a lot
Right.
faster
Right.
because science terms, the wavelength is very short. So
Right.
these waves are like this right now. So
Right. But they can't stay is what I'm trying to say.
no,
They
no,
can't last. It's impossible. Nothing lasts. Not
right.
like that. Right?
No.
And so if you will allow it, imagine that you allow it to run its course.
Mhm.
What difference would that make for you? If you just allow it to run its course.
I don't know because I think I'm a little afraid of the damage from the waves.
Really? How so? Because guilt is not there, right? Like imagine you just hold yourself. You
Yeah.
know, if you're just there with you, even if you vegged out and watched some funny shows or you did something um to take care of you because on this day you don't have to be out trying to be in the turning of the compost and doing like no. It's just like a
Mhm.
cold.
Yeah.
You're not going to be out doing the things that you would normally do. You're inside healing. This is just a healing time.
I think I would have to figure out what the healing thing is
Mhm.
because something like that brings more guilt.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. It's a
Yeah.
new practice. The new
Okay.
practice is I'm actually working on myself without telling myself I need to be any other way.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
there's no need for the guilt to even come in because I'm here. Like whatever if the sadness is here, what would I do to and we're only looking at a little bit better. So it could be music. You might want to just hear music. Or for the person who's going through the same thing, you might like poems.
Mhm.
Or you might want to just look outside. You might not want to necessarily do anything, but you're looking outside at your garden or looking outside at your greenhouse might bring you just a little bit of happiness.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you think? Now, you tell me, what can bring you just a little bit more joy?
I at this moment, I don't know. Um, See, because I start automatically thinking of shit I gotta do. So it's like, is accomplishing something going to give me joy, or is it going to just be a necessity? So I don't know. I don't
Mhm.
know if hearing something would make me feel
Mhm.
better. I don't know if seeing something. I
Mhm.
don't know if just sitting. I don't
I
know.
hear you. Okay.
And
So let's look.
I'm
Okay, go ahead.
terrified to be, like, eating something or I'm terrified of those things. Like, things are fear is coming more so than if it would make me feel a little bit better. So
Okay.
I don't
And
know.
so tell me about that because this is going to help somebody. Let me just tell you.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you today, Sylvia, this episode is going to help somebody.
I wish it would
Okay.
help me.
It is going to help you. What the hell? It's going to help you too. Shit. It's okay.
Yeah.
Listen, it is really okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
What if all you needed to do, Sylvia, is care for you? Not having an agenda, not having a task.
Yeah.
You're just tending to you right now.
I don't even know what that looks like, Lori, to be honest with you. I'm dead
Mhm.
for real. I don't know what that looks like to not have a checklist.
Mhm.
I literally don't know what that looks like. I don't even know. Like, there are just lists upon lists of, like,
Mhm.
I mean, there's sticky notes everywhere of,
Mhm.
like, "Do this, get this done, finish this, you can
Yeah.
do this,"
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. I
So
get it.
to just exist or to just do shit is
Mm.
foreign.
I hear you. Yeah.
And I apologize for everybody with me crying and sniffling in the microphone. I will try to edit this as much as I can.
Girl, please don't edit shit. This is raw because it's real. This
Yeah.
is life. This is life. Okay?
Yeah.
We are all going through something. Okay? We all are going through something. I appreciate your vulnerability. I really do.
Yeah.
And I know that healing is on the other side. I believe that with everything in me. And sometimes, Sylvia, we just have to be and we just have to love on ourselves. That's all we have.
Yeah.
And your body needs you. It might not need you to do anything but just chill the fuck out and love on you.
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
could just imagine for a second, like again, for a second, you perked up because you were talking about something that brought you joy. I
Yeah.
saw you,
Yeah.
and I saw it in your face. And I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
So if nothing else, it's just you thinking about feeling a little bit better.
Yeah. Like maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. I just have to think about it. Maybe while I'm doing whatever it is, but just thinking about this is making me feel better. This is not making me feel better. This is making me feel,
Mhm.
whatever. But
Where are you now?
I got stuff to figure out. Still a bit confused because it's
Mhm.
so complex.
I hear you.
Uh, it's it is. I'm very grateful because it is reinforcing to hear somebody say that it's okay or that I'm okay or that healing is coming or those things because it's like I don't necessarily believe it right now.
I hear you.
So somebody else telling me that, you know what this feels like? You see those therapy commercials where the dude is multiple people, but there's one where the guy is sitting there and his friend's like, "What do you want?" And he starts like saying like, "I want this and I want that. I want a job that I don't hate." And then the
Mhm.
guy's like, no, what do you want to eat?" like like his friend is like, "I'm gonna ask you about that shit. I just want to know like, what do you want to eat?" Like that's how I feel. That's how I feel. It's like I want all these things for myself, but it's hard to figure out like what it is or how to get it.
Mhm.
And he also says, "I just want somebody to tell me, like, this is how you do it." So that way, like, that burden is taken off.
Mhm.
But it just is so funny because on the commercial, his friend's like, "No, no, no. What do you want to eat?" And he's like, "Oh, my bad. I just want pad thai." Like, that's how I feel right now. Like, I'm not saying my people have been like that with me. Like, shout out to my friend who does not want to be on the show, and I laughingly, jokingly, lovingly call her Voldemort because she shall not be named. Uh,
Mhm.
she called, shit, I don't know what day it was, probably Wednesday, and she had just finished season 1,
Mhm.
and she was on to season 2, and so she was asking, "Is the happiness thing, like, really day to day?" And I was like, "Shit, it's probably worse now, like, it's hour by hour."
Mhm.
And so she was asking, like, "How'd you get here?" And, everything, like, shout out to her for even taking the time to ask me this stuff, 'cause
Mhm.
I think I needed somebody to talk to, but I didn't know I needed to talk about that, and so, of course, you know, I had to take time out to cry because that's just
Mhm.
what I do,
Right.
but, but it was interesting because I didn't realize that, like, I'm projecting this as much as I am.
Mhm.
Even for you to say, like, you noticed that when you asked about my birthday that I just said it was okay.
Mhm.
I don't realize that because in my head, I'm like, faking it till I make it.
Right.
Nobody can see this.
Right.
So, I guess I'm not doing as good a job as I could of hiding this,
Well,
but
I'm glad actually.
I am doing
Yeah.
enough to, like at least I can express it this time a little better.
Yeah. Right, and that's why I'm saying we have to look for it. We have to
Yeah.
look for better, right? Because if we don't look for better, we won't find it.
No.
or like inviting guilt to leave. Like, who says shit like that? I'm gonna
Yeah.
invite guilt to leave.
I mean, but that's some if that ain't a Loriism, like, you've been on that for a long time, and even when you talked about your kids, when you're like, "I'm inviting them to move out,"
Mhm.
like, you are the distributor of invitations.
Exactly. And sometimes people accept the invitation, sometimes they don't.
Right,
And so it has to start out really kind because then it becomes a little bit more forceful. But I don't ever want to get to that point, right?
right.
So the invitation is always there. And so for you, this is the practice to really invite guilt to leave because guilt really doesn't have a place in your space not right now,
No.
right? Because if you're sad, you're fucking sad.
Yeah.
You're not gonna stay there. Like,
No.
because guess what? We can be happy sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And happiness fades too.
Yeah.
Now, some some emotions can stay. Like for instance, joy. Joy can always stay because all of them really are a choice, but some come in really hard and we don't realize how we got overtaken, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so,
Shit. Yes.
you
Yeah.
get what I'm saying?
I
So,
get what you're saying.
and I will say, I'm curious to know, are you sadder today than you were around your birthday?
Shit. Uh, I don't know. I was not crying like this that day, so
Mhm.
I'm gonna
Well, you
say,
probably you remember how you said fake it till you make it and put on and
yeah,
shit? Okay.
yeah.
So, imagine you didn't put on.
Oh, well then, yeah, no. Um, nah. I think I'm a little less sad than I was that day.
I can imagine that, right? And so this is the other thing. Sometimes we have these expectations of people and things,
Mhm.
and when it doesn't pan out the way we imagine them in our head, this is a letdown.
It's the same as having it for myself though. Like I got certain expectations and certain things that I have like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Like even my bingo board for the year, my goals for the year is like January is wrapping up and I have not accomplished the January shit that I wanted to accomplish,
Mhm.
which brings on the guilt of like, look at you half doing, look at you procrastinating. Like it's like, shit, I'm fucking sad. Like
Right, and that's the other thing too. I'm glad you're sharing that with me.
mhm.
Decide to not pick on yourself.
Shit. Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because
It's gonna take a lot of
there's
practice.
I bet, right? Because when we have lists of things that we want to accomplish. But if we
Mhm.
don't accomplish them, we're not bad people. We're
Yeah.
not lazy people. We're not like no. These are names that we've been taught to call ourselves over the years.
Yeah.
And I'm saying imagine if we didn't judge ourselves for not accomplishing certain goals.
Yeah. I
And
remember,
there yeah.
I the people I used to deal with last year, I the one thing I took away from them that I really did appreciate is they cared about resting. They gave a fuck about taking a nap. They gave a fuck about, like, I remember for, like, a month, it was on some, like, "We're abolishing deadlines." I let that
Mhm.
shit go.
Mhm.
And that rest was resistance, and that understanding, like, take a fucking break when you need a break.
Right?
I appreciate that part, and, I understand it. I gotta figure out what my break looks like, what my
Nice.
rest looks like,
Mhm.
because just because I feel like the shit that I do every day isn't that big of a deal or isn't that difficult, I know that to someone else, if I was like, "Alright, get up at 7 and go outside and make sure those plants are alright," somebody else would look at that and be like, "No, fuck no."
Well, you looking at her.
Right. Right,
Just let me
right.
let you know.
Your garden is on top of your counter in your kitchen. I got you. I got you.
Exactly. And I'm gonna even tell you this morning, we walk every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Uh-huh.
And it started out, we out there, we get up at 7, 7:15 and
Uh-huh.
shit. And
Yeah.
I told him last night, I said, listen, if I don't get into bed before 12, I ain't getting up. And I
Right.
told him, I said, now why we gotta get up at 7? Can we get up at 8? Lori, no, don't change, don't change. And I'm listening to you talking about you get up at 7. Like
Yeah.
literally, I'm I'm thinking about 7
In
at
the
7.
summertime, in in the summertime, like if there are things in the greenhouse right now. I've already started. I've already started because I follow the Farmer's Almanac now. So there are things already in under the grow lights already ready that have to be
Girl.
monitored, that have to be watered. I just planted them 8 pots of aloe. That's got to be
Mhm,
monitored because
mhm.
they might get frazzled, and some of them are frazzled. So
Mm,
this stuff is like
aw,
I got to look at that stuff every day.
I see.
And it's
But
on a
when
timer. If I'm not getting
okay.
out there, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
we're gonna mess up something.
I hear
So,
you.
and in the
And
summer,
uh-huh.
no, it's worse.
Oh my goodness. Well, even with that though, I think sometimes, and again, you remind me so much of Tori. It's
Mhm.
like you give yourself reasons to be annoyed with yourself when things
Yes.
don't go right. And I'm
Yes.
saying you don't have to
Yeah.
because it's not that fucking deep. I'm
Right.
so serious.
And you know what? We gotta wrap this up, but let me tell you something. I am constantly I don't none of the people in my circle are doctors.
Mhm.
Everybody got a regular job. They do regular shit. And everybody's job always seems so stressful to me. And I'm like, y'all are not curing cancer. I always tell them that. I never say that shit to myself though.
Right.
I
That's
need
what
to
I'm
say
trying to
that shit to
say.
myself. Like nothing that I'm doing is gonna cure fucking cancer. It's not gonna cure COVID. It's not gonna cure nothing. Like
And
I'm
I'm
just
telling
growing
you,
food.
right, and your energy, Sylvia, transfers. So
Yeah.
if you're around your beautiful plants with nervous energy, you're
Right.
giving it to them.
It's gonna fuck up. Yeah.
W- Well, not fuck up. It's just gonna it's you're invite again, we're talking about invitation. You're inviting them to be nervous too.
Yeah.
You don't have to frazzle your plants and you don't have to be frazzled yourself.
No.
Chill. Skate walk out there in that bitch and do what you do. Like seriously. And that's why I mention music so much
Mhm.
because music can calm you. And
Yeah.
I think you like music too.
Yeah, I do. And Drew asked me about this also. He asked me about because when he did the episode with us, he has like specific songs that he brings himself back to, and like a certain it'll level him back out. And he was asking me
Yeah.
like, "What's your song?" And I was like, "Pff, no idea,"
Okay. So
which is
that's
crazy. Maybe it's
was
something I need to sit down and do though.
it's not crazy. It's just now you have something to do. And it could
Yeah.
be that you play some music out there with your plants.
Yeah.
Something, maybe some Beethoven or some type of 432 frequency or something to relax the whole atmosphere and
Yeah.
you too. So you can know. I love the fact that you said you learned something from the situation last year of
Yeah.
taking a nap.
Voice.
But I found out too that naps help you focus.
Yeah.
Like when you take a nap during lunch or, your lunchtime or people at work,
Mhm.
stealing away just for a second to refocus,
Yeah.
realign yourself to where you want to be,
Yeah.
right? And that's what I'm saying for you, Sylvia. Just decide that you can realign yourself to where you want to be.
Yeah. I think where I have resistance in you saying things like that is the word just.
Okay. Okay. Well, take that out.
Because it sounds so simple at that point that I should just be able to do whatever, and it's like, if I could, I would.
Okay.
I get what you're
So,
saying. I appreciate what you're saying.
okay.
I
Well, what would
I
work
I
though?
I realize that, like, that word gives me resistance for some reason.
I hear you. So let's take that word out, right?
Right.
And what would be okay to put in its place?
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. Say what you said without saying the word just. Yeah.
Okay. Realign yourself a little bit by little bit
Yeah.
without guilt.
It's different when you say without just. It is different
Mhm. Mhm.
because that becomes, it becomes more possible.
Nice.
Just sounds like it's not possible for me.
I hear you. I hear you. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
that. Okay,
Yes.
so let's look at the scale before we close, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 10 is feeling better than you felt in a long time,
Uh-huh.
and 0 is the opposite. You said you were a 2 earlier, almost a 3 or right around a 3.
Yeah.
So some of the things we talked about, where are you now?
5.
Okay.
I could
How?
go either way.
Okay. How did you get there though?
Just like you said, little by little, piece by
Mhm.
piece, kind of pulling on the thread and straightening it out. Like science terms. I'm decreasing the frequency of these waves as we talk, so they're
Okay.
spreading out now. So there's
Nice.
still a lot of them, but they're not like right next to each other.
Mhm.
It's giving a little bit more space to them, so it's like a decompression to be able to say these things out loud.
Nice. And tell me what difference it makes to be able to spread those out, even though they're still there, and that's
Hmm.
fine, but you don't have them right up on each other. What difference is that making for you?
I can recover,
Right.
because if they're just coming, just hitting you
Mhm.
in the face,
Right.
um, there's
Almost can't breathe,
recovery
feeling
there.
like waterboarding.
Right. Exactly. So this it's like a recovery is there. It's given enough space to like take a deep breath before you go back under.
Right.
So yeah, it's I still don't have the answers. It's still a complex situation, but it's enough space in there to be like, okay, it's possible to figure it out.
Mhm.
When we started, I didn't know what. I was just, you know, spinning
Right.
at that point.
Right.
So I feel a little bit better and thanks for letting me get this out.
I'm so happy.
I'm
You
shocked
matter,
that
Sylvia.
I let you talk me into recording this.
I feel well, the thing about it is, 1, I knew you could feel better, number 1,
Yeah.
and number 2, I believe that somebody needed to hear this. And no,
Yeah.
this is not what we normally do, right? We ain't over here having no damn session and shit like that, even though that's what I do. But
Yes.
our episode is not so much about that. But I do want people to recognize sometimes we feel down
Yeah.
and we can't explain it and we beat ourselves up about it. And
Yes.
I'm saying just for a second, if you can invite the 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 heckler in you or the judge in you to back the hell back just for a second and just let us feel what we feel, we're going to feel better
Yeah.
because there's a tendency within us, a urging within us to feel better.
Yeah.
We ultimately want to feel better. I know you do.
Yes. Absolutely.
And so we have to give ourselves enough space to do that. And there are tools. Music is a great tool. Relaxation is a tool. Going for a walk is a tool. Breathing deeply to let your stomach expand and then breathe back out and let it close back in. And so we need to do that more and more so that we can know that we can feel better.
Right.
And if a situation is to where you feel hopeless, call someone.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say do this by yourself. You
Right.
might need to call someone.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
you're
Thank you
welcome.
to
It's my
anyone, and
pleasure.
I do hope that if these boohoo tears help you, I hope they help you because they are very real. This is a very
Mhm.
real situation.
Mhm.
Um, but I do think better is possible.
Exactly.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
That's it for this week's show. I'm Lori Scott.
And I'm Sylvia Johnson, and you've been listening to What's Been Better.
A big thank you to Lagon Music Inc. for providing our music. This show is edited and produced by us with a little help from our family and friends. We love you all.
We want to hear what's been better for you. To be a guest on the show, send us an email to questions@whatsbeenbetter.com. Or you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at What's Been Better Podcast.
Thanks for listening.